Proactive versus reactive. What do you think your general mode is? This has been coming up a lot for me lately, particularly in the past week. I've had 3 different calls: training, internal team, and leadership call, and this has just come up, and it's all for Men's Victory Path. So this has a certain flavor for us men in the way that it shows up a certain character. And I bottom lined it to proactive versus reactive, but it took some unraveling to get to that point. So I don't know if you know this, but about 22 veterans per day commit suicide. And if you think about it, that's about 1 per hour. That's really sad. And I remember a statistic from the 90s. I don't know if this still holds true today, where about 1/3 of this country's homeless, of the U.S.'s homeless, were Vietnam veterans. Staggering number. Obviously, PTSD is a very serious issue. But there's something that's been noticed, and I remembered this example, and I brought it up on these calls. There's something specific that's been learned about PTSD with regard to veterans, those that have it in greater numbers versus those that don't. And what's been noticed is that those from special forces suffer PTSD a lot less. That's Navy SEALs, Marine Recon, Army Ranger, all these special units, Delta. It's not really just because of their training. It may not even be directly because of their training, but indirectly because of their training. Their training causes them to go out on certain missions. They're summoned, they're called up on certain types of assignments. They'll bring the fight to the enemy in some way, shape, or form. It could be incredibly dangerous, sneaking behind enemy lines, just bringing the fight to the enemy. And the bottom line is that they are being proactive. Versus, now here's the other example. If you're stationed somewhere at a fort, at a base, in a hot zone, in a war zone, where you have to go out on patrol, they get ambushed, sneak attacks, surprise attacks. That is such a shock to one's nervous system. And so the issue there is that will throw anybody into reactive mode. You're having to react to what's happening. Now, those that are out there on patrol, the special forces, that's what's called being in predator mode. And then those that are being ambushed, unfortunately, they're more like prey. They're being surprised, they're being attacked. It could be booby traps. That was a big issue in Vietnam. Now, bringing that to bear on general life. And I know that stuff like this has worked, these kinds of interventions, coaching and work, counseling with veterans that suffer from PTSD. When you give them a sense of purpose, they're building something again, they're feeling proactive again, it changes their whole perspective on life. And what are we ultimately talking about? Perception. When you think about it, being proactive, being that predator, being out there bringing the fight to the enemy, versus being reactive, being in prey mode, having to just react to everything that's happening in your life because things are going to happen in life beyond our control or the results of decisions that we have made, maybe not the smartest decisions. Whatever the case may be, it all comes down to perception, how we see, hear, feel, and experience life. So when you think about predator mode versus prey mode, proactive versus reactive, it reminds me of Jim Carrey's words. He became famous for saying these words at a commencement. He said, "You want to see life as happening for you, not to you." And I've heard Tony Robbins say those same words. When you're proactive, you're able to take on the perspective of life happening for you. When you're reactive, you're going to be taking on that perspective of life happening to you. So for us men, in the building of things, in wrapping up projects, things that we take on, bringing the fight to the enemy in some way, being purposeful, that makes a huge difference. And this has been shown. I can't emphasize this enough. Do some meaningful work. Find something that is purposeful for you, something that contributes to other people, something that gives you a sense of feeling useful, because particularly for us men, we want to feel like useful contributors. And that's ultimately my purpose, restoring purpose to men's lives so they feel like useful contributors again. That's what we want. We want to feel like what we do matters and that it's going to last. And that's why we're creatures of legacy. So think about it. Proactive versus reactive. If you're taking on more things in life, you're building more things, you're working on things with other people that serve some kind of a purpose, it makes such a difference. And so with that, as always, my friends, stay engaged.